ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः The chapter called Law of Causation. What we are going to study in this chapter is sorry, I'll give a brief introduction and then you can carry on, Anshu. So, we'll be discussing some of the foundation principles on which life moves. That is the chapter Law of Causation. The basis on which life moves is this chapter, divided into law of destiny, law of karma, theory of reincarnation, birth and death, theory of reincarnation. The topics that is covered under this chapter. Causation implies you see the effect and you want to understand the cause. You don't see the cause and then the effect. You see the effect and you work backwards. Most of the times, this is how it happens. So, a few things that we got to understand: cause and effect. You see an effect and you understand the cause. Second, we can only infer there is a cause. Most of the times, you can never know the actual cause. The second important aspect. We can infer that there is a cause. You can never know what the actual cause is. In a mechanical model, if life is a mechanical model, you can pinpoint the cause. And life being not a mechanical model, you can only infer. At the most, we can infer that there is a cause. Very difficult to locate what the actual cause is. That's why when we see the law of resultant forces, you will understand that we can never know the actual cause, for it is a combination of factors. What are the factors? Your action. Your action is the cause. Action as in the thought, the word, the deed. It's not action doesn't mean just what whenever we talk about action, we think action means that which is done through the body. We think that as action. Actions is of three types. Kayakam, Vachakam, Manasam. We have seen that. That action, the three types of actions that are executed is by the body, by the word, by the thought. So, the cause is the thought, the word, the deed. Effect is, what is the effect? The cause is the thought, the word, the deed. What is the effect? You, the individual, is the effect. This is causation as far as the individual is concerned. Similarly, there is causation at the level of the macrocosm also. So, second important thing when it comes to causation is what? You can infer the cause. Most of the times, you can never pinpoint the actual cause. A person who is very limited in reasoning and logic, a person who has a very limited understanding of logic and reason will say, how is it possible? That is why we say the third. In a mechanical model, you can precisely pinpoint the cause and effect. Life not being a mechanical model, you can only infer and say there is a cause that has produced the effect, and you do not know what the cause. Sometimes you may know the cause. Most of the times, you do not know the cause. Where you do not know the cause, but we understand that you are the one who did it, we are going to see all. There is a beautiful word, prarabdha. Oh, one of the extraordinary words of the philosophy is this word, prarabdha. Another important factor, considering when it comes to law of causation, is at any given point of time, you being the effect, understands that you can change the effect. Even though you may not know the actual cause, you have the capacity, potential to change. Another important aspect of causation. Here comes karma purushartha. You may not know the actual cause. You can understand the effect. It means that you can change it means you can change. So life gives the luxury of growth, change. It says you can infer there is a cause. The ordinary logic and reason always says, if you have to sort out something, you need to know the root cause. If you have to understand something, the ordinary logic, that is very, very, I tell you, this is very ordinary childish logic, this is. Very childish, this is. To say that to sort out something, you need to know the root cause. If you know the root cause, then you can set everything right. Correct? We also believe in that. All our diagnosis, most of the time we spend on trying to find out. If only I know what the root cause is, I can set everything right. Vedanta in the law of causation comes and says, most of the times you can never know it. Or you can know it provided if you can account for each and every thought of yours, each and every word of yours, each and every action of yours. You can know. When can you know? If you can account all the three. And in the 15th chapter, he says, in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, he says, I make you forget the cause and only make you experience the effect. I am the forgetfulness, he says. Even though you are the executor of the thought, word, and action, you forget also. And then we say, thank God we forget. Thank God we forget. In fact, it's a blessing that you are able to forget. So from this, what do we understand? There is the law that governs life, cause and effect. At two levels, you can understand the cause. One is the cause and effect at the level of the pratyaksha. Another is cause and effect at the level of inference. Technically, we'll give the basic preamble and then we'll read the text. You can understand the cause and effect at the level of pratyaksha, and you can understand cause and effect at the level of inference. Anuma. When we talk about law of causation here, definitely we don't mean it in the level of pratyaksha. Because in the level of pratyaksha, it is self-evident, you don't need to be taught. Are you able to follow? Yeah, these are all essence of Vedanta we are studying, no? So instead of just worrying about how do we solve the worldly problems, how do we solve all that, instead of dealing with worry and anxiety all the time, we discuss something meaningful also. How to deal with the worry and anxiety. Other than it's not a meaningful discussion at all. Why? Because it keeps coming back. Whatsoever you do, you are an expert in bringing it back. You do something, some worry and anxiety goes, and then you will do something else, the worry and anxiety comes back. Therefore, it doesn't really help in understanding anything. So these are the essence of Vedanta. What is it? The cause and effect, when we talk about the law of causation, we are talking about inferential, not pratyaksha. Are you able to see? Are you able to understand the difference? If it is pratyaksha anumana, if it is pratyaksha, sorry, not pratyaksha anumana, if it is pratyaksha, you don't need teaching. Are you able to follow? You don't need teaching because you know it by yourself. You put your finger in the fire, it will get burnt. When you are hungry, eat. This is pratyaksha. You don't need any teaching here. Where does Vedanta law of causation comes in? Life is not led on the pratyaksha plane. Life is predominantly led on the inference plane. Since it is inferential, the law of causation is a very important subject. What does inferential means? Even as I am talking, it is inferential. What is the inference here? I am analyzing it in a particular way. I am elaborating it in a particular way. This analysis and elaboration will make the concept clear is the inference. Chances are you may end up more confused. Are you able to follow? So all that we do is inferential based. So here when we talk about law of causation, we are not talking about law of causation as in the pratyaksha pramanam. We are talking about law of causation as in anumanam, inference. That is very important to understand. If you mix up pratyaksha into the law of causation, it will be very confusing. That is why law of karma, law of destiny, law of reincarnation, all this doesn't appear as law because we try to use the wrong pramanam, that is pratyaksham, to understand this. Again, I repeat. You do an action, inferential says actions has different timelines. I have a glass in front. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. If I do that, then I have to sit and I have to wind up the glass and sit up cleaning the mess. So I take the glass and I drop the glass. The effect is, the cause and effect is immediate, instant. You plant the redwood seed. How many centuries it takes for it to grow into a full-grown tree? 500 years it takes. 500 years it takes to grow into a full-grown tree. From this, what do we understand? The manifestation of cause and effect sometimes are instantaneous, sometimes spread over a longer period of time. Where it is instantaneous, sensus helps you to understand that. Where it is over a longer period of time, you can understand it only through inference. So, in law of causation, what are we using to what is the instrument that we have to use to understand the law of causation? Not the senses. The subtler instrument is what we have to use. Because whenever we talk about inference, it means knowledge, it means buddhi. That is why you cannot ask, show me law of karma, you cannot show law of karma. Show me law of destiny, you cannot show law of destiny. How can you say this? How can you say this person dead is the person that is born there? It is not said like that. For all this, the instrument that we use is the buddhi. The pramanam that we use is inference. So, in understanding law of causation, we are clear what the relevant use of instrument is: the intellect. The methodology of gaining this knowledge is inference. Inference based means what? Now comes the challenge. If it is inferential based, it means what? To whatever extent you have grown, to that extent you can see. Inferential based means what? To whatever extent your instrument is sharpened, grown, to that extent you would be able to see. Whether you are able to see it or not, law keeps functioning. Law doesn't wait for you to understand and then it starts functioning. It functions. Whether you strengthen your intellect and understand it or not, law functions independently. Another important aspect of law of causation is impartial. Remember all these pointers, huh? Remember all these pointers. So when we read all that, when we are going into deeper analysis, it will be helpful to understand. The law means it is an impartial law. In fact, impartiality is the essence of law. Law means it has to be impartial. Why do we say law of causation is impartial? Because it is not made by one species for its welfare. The human law are made by a human being for their own welfare. When you are making a law for your own welfare, you can overlook the welfare of, you will tend to overlook the other things. Law of causation is a very penetrative, impartial law in that sense. Able to see the difference? When a human being makes a law, a human being can never make an impartial law. All the laws of human beings will be partial. To whom? To themselves. To themselves. Law of causation is impartial in the sense it is not exclusive to one species. The universal law. Exclusivity isn't there. Exclusivity means impartial. When you make a law, it is subject to change. The causation doesn't change. The causation doesn't change. It's very clear. Law of karma amendment la போட முடியாது. That's what it means. You can't bring an amendment. You can't enact a law in the parliament, or you can't enact a law. Supposing if you have a global parliament, you can't bring a law in the global parliament and do anything. It is impartial. Every moment of your life is decided by this law. We don't see it. We think our life is decided by, I don't know what we think our life is decided by. The most important thing in Vedanta to understand is every moment of life is governed by, decided by this law. The law of cause and effect. That's why it's called the law of causation. Cause and effect. The moment we talk about a law, there has to be a lawgiver, no? There has to be a lawmaker, lawgiver. How can there be a law minus the lawmaker, lawgiver? That lawmaker, that lawgiver, we give some name, that's all. Actually speaking, there is nobody sat and made the law. It's there. But then again we infer that there has to be some supreme intelligence that have, minus that it wouldn't happen in the way that it is happening. So the law itself posits a lawgiver. The law itself posits a lawmaker. You can lawmaker, lawgiver doesn't make any big difference. It means one and the same. From another angle, I'm just giving the skeleton for the entire causation. Then we'll elaborate all that. The seed is the cause The tree is the effect. But we understand two different manifestations at two different points of time. Process is the same. The same process. So cause and effect is a cyclical process. Very important to understand this also. So when we say cause and effect, it we understand it as a cyclical process, not a linear one. There is a cause and then there is an effect. And that cause itself is an effect of a previous cause. Just as the teacher of today should have necessarily been a student in the past, no? You can't become a teacher. Are you able to follow? Cause and effect. That's why in the tradition, the Vedantic tradition, all the gurus would have been Sishyas once, and they keep paying respect to the it's a process. So there is the cause, there is the effect. It doesn't end there. It becomes a cycle. Once it becomes a cycle, after a period of time, it will be very difficult to locate what is the first cause. If it is linear, you can locate the first cause. If it is cyclical, you can never locate the first cause. Are you able to see the difference? If it is linear, you can come from 10, you can come to 10, from 10 you can come to 8, from 8 you can come to 5, from 5 you can come to 3, from 3 to 1, and to, I don't know, 0, whatever be it. If it is linear like that, it is different. If it is cyclical, if you understand it as cyclical means what? You can never know what is the beginning and what is the end. And yet, with inference, you know there is a beginning and an end. This is law of causation. They will see now. Though you can never conceptually, intellectually, or physically know what the beginning is and what the end is, though it is cyclical, out of inference, you understand that there has to be a beginning and there will be an end. Just as all beings who are born will, all men are mortal. I am not dead to know that I will die. Looking at everybody around me, I conclude what? I also belong to the same category. From another angle, the effect is the proof the cause existed. You didn't see me. So if you are seeing me. You have not met my father, doesn't matter. The fact that I am sitting and talking itself is the proof that I had a father. Yeah. I cannot become a Swayambhu, no. Swayambhu means all coming by itself. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Swayambhu doesn't exist. I myself have not met my great-grandfather. I myself don't know my great-grandfather. And yet, in the chain of cause and effect, I understand that there was a great-grandfather. This is law of causation. This understanding, inference based, is what is called the law of causation. The past is explained by law of causation. What will be your future? The openness of the future is again because of the law of causation. When you say openness of the future means it can be, you can become anybody in the future. The past is explained perfectly by the law, and it also says your future is so open that infinite are the possibilities. Again, it is explained only by this, by the law of causation. It explains the past, it explains the present, it says, and it talks about the future too. All sciences use this methodology of cause and effect. Psychology talks about cause and effect. Economics talks about cause and effect. Medical sciences talks about cause and effect. Financial markets talks about cause and effect. But all the principles of cause and effect comes from the philosophy. What is the philosophy? At any given point of time, you see an effect and you project the cause. Are you able to follow? At any given point of time, you experience the effect. By experiencing the effect, you project the cause. We project the cause because there is a cause. And most of the times, we may not know, I'm just repeating again. Most of the times, we may not know the actual cause. We may not know the specific. Why we can never know the specific? If you have to know the specific, you need to account. You need to have the complete data of all the thoughts, the word, and the deed, which you don't. Which you don't. Nobody has. Nobody has. Vijay. But at least, yeah, I like only Vijay. You know, this way, because he's the only person who calls me Acharya. And I like him. Yeah. He gave me that position. Yeah. Even Acharya will not know because it is not, it is designed, the law is designed in such a way that you need not know. You can only infer that it is so. That is why we established very clearly in the beginning itself, it is a law not based on pratyaksha, it is a law based on inference. Remember this. Because it is based on inference, it is so deep, penetrative, not understandable. If it is pratyaksha, it is very straightforward. That's why I gave the example. When you are hungry, naturally pratyaksha will drive you towards food. The cause and effect is very clear there. And then comes the last important thing. When we say life is cause and effect, the life, each and every moment of life, the microcosm and the macrocosm is governed by this law, cause and effect. What it rules out? It rules out accidents. It rules out luck. It is ruled out. It rules out accidents. It rules out luck. It means, again it means what? Again, it means that when you are experiencing an effect, that effect you are experiencing because you caused it. If you want to experience a different effect, you alone can cause it. Again, I repeat. What this means is, if you are experiencing an effect which you don't like it, which you don't want, who caused it? You caused it. Now, if you want to experience something different, who can make it? You alone can make it. The possibility of freedom is established only because of this law. The possibility of freedom, the possibility of liberation is established only because of this law. If this law wasn't 100%, what will happen? There is always an element of chance. There is always an element of luck. There is always an element of accident. Meaning, there is a third entity also deciding your, there is a third entity also deciding your course of life. The law of causation comes and says, no. It effectively rules out all things called accidents, luck, fate. You see an effect, and if it is unpleasant to you, you will call it as fate. You see an effect, and if it is pleasant and acceptable, you will call it as luck. What is the difference between luck and fate? Effect. And that effect is pleasant and agreeable to you, you say, I don't know what I have done, I got this. Lucky, I am very lucky today. Very lucky today that in split second I escaped. Otherwise, I won't be sitting. Nothing like that happened to me. Vasanthi, nothing like that happened. I'm just giving it as an example. Yeah. In a class, message will come. What happened to you, sir? It's an example I'm giving. That's all. The example is, just like that it happened. Otherwise, I won't be sitting on luck. This law of causation removes one thing. What? It removes luck. It removes accidents. It removes fate. Then what about grace, anugraha, blessing? The same law talks about that also. The same law that eliminates fate and luck is the same law that explains anugraha, grace, blessing. The same law. That's why we say it's a complete law. The law of causation. Adi Shankaracharya went to Kumarila Bhatta. And he was already 80% dead. When Shankara went to him, he was dead 80%. So he said, go to my student Mandan Mishra. Go to my student Mandan Mishra. And if he accepts your logic, then it is complete. If he accepts. So Shankara goes and searches for Mandan Mishra. He goes to the town. He goes to the street. And he asks, where is Mandan Mishra's house? The girl passing by, you keep walking in this road, you keep walking in the street. In a house, parrots will be talking about Karana Karya Vada. You keep walking in this road. In a house, you will see parrot discussing Karana Karya Vada. Karana Karya Vada means cause and effect relationship. Know that house to be Mandan Mishra. Means that person in such a deep inquiry, even the parrots know what he is inquiring about. It means what? Are you able to follow? Karana Karya Vad. He says that parrots will be debating, parrots will be talking. What will they talk? Cabinet expansion today. Who has become minister? Quarter finals is happening. Who is winning? Who is losing? Or season 1, season 2, depending upon our interest. That's what we will talk. What else we will talk? We will talk only this. The parents there were talk the Karana Karya Vada. Karana Karya Vada means the law of cause and effect. For all practical purposes, proper Vedanta starts from Karana Karya Vada to Karana Karya Vada's law of causation. Then comes the next Vada. Then comes the next lesson. Theory of perception. Drishti Srishti. To put it very simply, I see Ganesh for the first time in my life. Pratyaksha. To my eyes, I am seeing him for the first time. It's not that he was created then only. It's not Drishti Srishti. It's not the eyes created it. Not that I saw, he is born. Correct? I see him. I see him. Yeah. Then I understand he must be 50, 60 years old. I don't know, not 50, 60, 30 years back, Ganesh. Yeah, 30 years back. So I know that he is 60, 70. The eyes are seeing him now. The inference says he is 60 years old, though I have not seen the entire 60 years. Now, do we live life based on perception or do we live life based on inference? Karana Karya Vada. Do we live life based on perception or do we live life based on inference? And what do we live life based on predominantly, most of the time? Inference. Inference. So, Karana Karya Vada, Drishti Srishti Vada, theory of perception, then comes Maya. And then the Mahavakyas, Brahma. This is what Vedanta is. This is what Vedanta is. To understand this, so many introductory things will be given. What are the introductory things? A human being is made up of body, mind, intellect. There is the body, there is the mind, there is the intellect, and the intellect is gross and subtle. There are 5 koshas, pancha koshas. There is action, there is emotion, there is knowledge. All the time, what are you seeking? All the time, what is the human being seeking? Prosperity, peace, artha, kama. Artha and kama, that's what? Prosperity and peace. Peace he believes by fulfillment of desires, and prosperity is a means to fulfill desire. Don't worry, Vedanta will give you peace and prosperity. And then after coming in, you realize that your existing prosperity also goes away. Whatever peace you had is also gone. Nothing has changed. What is this knowledge? The Karana Karya Vada. Cause and Karana means cause. Karyam means, this is called the law of causation. This chapter is called law of causation. The cause is an action, the effect is an action. The cause is action, the effect is, that's the cycle. Action inevitably produces effect, result. You cannot have an action without a result. Fruitless action is against the law of causation. Fruitless action is against the law of causation. Why? Because if there is an action, there will be an, there will necessarily be an effect. Because of the timeline in which it manifests, you may not be able to see it, but the fact that you are not able to see it means it doesn't exist. That's why I gave the example. If I take the glass and drop it, cause and effect is immediate. You put your fingers in the fire, it will not get burnt 6 months later. It is instant. So, some actions, this is where law of causation comes. Some actions produces effect immediately. Some action produces effect later. Everything doesn't go late. Everything doesn't happen immediately also. Not everything can happen instantaneously. Not everything happens late also. Some happens immediately. Some happens over a period of time. But nevertheless, what is understood? Nevertheless, what do we understand? There is a cause that drives the action, and the action becomes the cause for the next. Thus the cycle goes on. So causation is a cycle. Then comes the question, does that mean there is no way out of the cycle then? It looks like a person is caught. It is infinite in a state, but you can get out of that state. It is infinite in a state. In the waking state, it is infinite. In the dream state, it is infinite. But you can get out of that state. Just as you get out of the infinite things from the dream, you can get out of the infinite things from the waking state also. The possibility of freedom is because of the law. If this law wasn't there, we have no chance for freedom at all. Causation divides a person into two, karta and bhokta. Doer, experiencer, the doer and experiencer. Karta means doer, bhokta means experiencer. It is the karta becomes the bhokta experiencing what one did. This is where the law of causation, by giving you the responsibility, it gives you the possibility of freedom also. How does it happen? In this method. The human being is divided into two, the doer and the experiencer. The past doer is the present experiencer. Pray would follow Venkatachala. The present experiencer, who's the present experiencer? The present bhokta is the past karta. In the same way, the future experiencer is the present karta. Just as the present experiencer is the past karta, the future experiencer is determined by whom? The present experiencer is determined by whom? The past karta. You then. There are no two different. You only. Clear? You only. That's why Ramatirtha says, you make yourself, you mar yourself. You make yourself, you mar yourself. Meaning, how did they arrive at it? The karta, the bhokta. The current experiencer is the effect of the past doer. Similarly, if you want to experience something as a karta, if you pay attention to that, as a bhokta, you will be able to experience it. It says very clearly what? You are so free, that you can make anything out of your own self. That's the law of causation. The freedom is so complete that you can make anything out of yourself. You can become a Hiranyakashipu, you can become a Ravana, you can become any ordinary person like any one of us, or a Shankaracharya, a Ramatirtha, a Ramana Maharshi, When it says the current experiencer is because of the past doer, what goes out? Complaining will stop. Complaining will stop. Crying, complaining will stop. Otherwise, there is a constantly complaining, constantly crying. But sir, will it not end in self-whipping? No. How? In the past, you were an ignorant karta. Now, be a wise karta. Are you able to see the difference? You don't beat yourself up. You don't whip yourself up. Why? Because you understand what? In the past, you have been a dumb, ignorant doer. That dumb, ignorant doer is the current experiencer. Now, if you don't want this experience to continue, what you should change? From ignorant doer, from a dumb doer, become knowledge. What knowledge? Vedanta, obviously. That is there. Yeah, that you what knowledge? MBA from Stanford, MD from, no, not what knowledge, Vedanta. So what does law of causation says? The past karta is the present experiencer. As he is experiencing something in the present, he is the karta for the future also. So at any given point of time, who is a human being? At any given point of time, who are you? Who is a human being? A combination of doer experiencer. A combination of doer experiencer, doer experiencer, doer experiencer. Doer in relation to law of karma, experiencer in relation to destiny. This experiencer part is what we call as destiny. The doer part is what we call as karma, the future. You're able to see the difference? Experiencer means you have no choice. You have to experience it. No. Who created it? That is why we say horoscopes doesn't do anything. The planets is not responsible. The government is not responsible. COVID-19 is not responsible. Yeah. Just before the class, I was attending a call that person was saying, sir, only after this COVID, only in the last 1.5 years, life has turned. I said, what? Before that, you were in a state of sthita prajna or what? Even before you were complaining about something, now you are complaining about something else. But one thing didn't change. What didn't change? Complaining didn't change. Reasons may keep changing. So the only entertainment in life is what? Every 6 months, you can have a new reason to complain. That's all the entertainment of life is. Law of causation says, at any given point of time, you are a doer experiencer. Or experiencer doer. Either way, whichever way you want to put, you can put it. So to explain the experiencer part, which he cannot escape, that part of life is called destiny, the law of destiny. When it comes to the doer part, we call it is called as the law of karma. So we will be discussing two laws here. One is the law of destiny and another is the law of karma. Where does it come from? It comes from this understanding of a human personality. The do karta and bhokta. As a bhokta, you understand that you have to experience. And that experience, you understand it of a few types. With this, we conclude. Yeah. ரொம்ப motivational class, ரொம்ப pessimistic மாறிடுது, isn't it? The law of karma பத்தி பேசினாலே pessimism தான் ஒரு இருக்கிற எனர்ஜி எல்லாம் it will go. Because because you can't take that it is you. You can't take it is you. The experiencer has a few possibilities. What are the few possibilities? There is a disease. There are some medicine that cures the disease. There are some medicine that can manage the disease. There are some medicines which says nothing can be cured, we can just survive. Pain management. Are you able to follow? For some diseases, you can cure it. Some you can manage it. What is managing it? Like hypertension, diabetes, you can manage it. You can't cure it. You can only manage it. Medicines you can take. Some terminal disease where there is no cure nor management. What do they do? Just pump in something and make you numb temporarily. The experiencer, some he can overcome, some he can manage, some he has to really go through and finish it off. So a person understanding this law, what happens? Such a freedom over life. Such a free person he becomes. On what basis he attains the freedom? What is the basis of freedom? The basis of freedom is this: that some can be cured, some can be managed, some you have to, there is no cure, there is no management, you just have to experience and get over. That which you just have to experience and get over is one meaning of the word prarabdha. We'll be discussing. Two words we'll be discussing, prarabdha and purushartha. I'm sure, very sorry. A preamble, I took the whole class. Yeah, preamble itself, the whole class. So maybe prarabdha, one whole class, maybe purushartha, I don't know. And I told you in the beginning itself. Yeah. When we get into all this, not that I do other classes very fast, as it is, I'm very slow. Now, when it comes to these kind of things, it will be still slower because so much of understanding is possible, and it is this understanding that is going to stick with you forever. For it is this understanding that comes along with you even after the death. Rest of the things you will forget, but this is that which counts. Therefore, it is worth spending some extra time in understanding this law. The chapter, the law of causation. First, we will see it is supreme. Supreme means two things. There cannot be anything better than that in the past, present, future. There is none that can equal it also. Supreme means two. Supreme means in the past, present, and future, there cannot be anything better. Supreme means none can equal it also. The law of causation. And then it is divided into two, karta, bhokta. Karta in the law of karma, bhokta in the law of destiny. And then the constant change that we see in life. The causation is a cycle, birth and death, the continuous cycle of birth and death. By continuing the same inference, we arrive at the law of reincarnation. Even though the books call it as theory of reincarnation, I would still call it as law of reincarnation only. It is a theory only if you are using the pratyaksha pramana. It is a law if you are using what? Inference, Anuman. Are you able to follow? Therefore, this is the topic. This is the chapter. The law of causation. With this brief introduction, and my brief is always very elaborate. With this brief introduction, we will study from the next week, not today. From the next week, we'll go into the chapter. The cause and the law of causation.